wherever you are, if you're traveling from home or going to work from home or school, I want to welcome you. It is the 5th day of September 2024, and you're with Dr. Thomas Mallory Hill on Dr. T's Philosphy Cafe. It is a live broadcast, and the number, if you'd like to call in, is area code 714-816-4686. I think I have an exciting show for us today, in that within the last 7 days, so much has happened, and I want to delve into a couple of things before I go any further, just to say, if Mary is with us today, hey, Mary Stanley, how are you? All right. And if she will join us, we'll be glad to have her. But, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let me tell you something. Welcome to Dr. T's Philosphy Cafe, where we do delve into different depths of thought. We explore complex ideas and engage in lively discussions about the fundamental questions that shape our existence for today. I am your host. While I want to say that I'm a seasoned philosopher with a passion for unraveling mysteries of the universe, and each episode that I do try to bring something to the table that we are intellectually or using our intellectual curiosity to meet this lively discourse. One of the things that I want to piggyback off today was in the announcements that have come to fruition within just the last 12 hours almost. It's alignable.com. It's a relational media platform, and that platform at Alignable, if you've been gracious enough to have been invited by someone via email, or you stumbled upon it yourself, our show, Optimize My Life, presented by Hope Foundation, and as your guest was presented to me as an opportunity to host this particular event because of another Alignable member, Mary Stanley, as you've heard me mention her name. There are many of Alignable people that I've had the opportunity and the honor, pleasure even, of not only doing business with, building social capital, meeting tons and tons of people, literally hundreds of thousands of people over the last 12 months particularly, that I hope I serve as an inspiration to those who would like to have their own radio broadcast to contact Mary through Optimize My Life. We also have a private Facebook group by the same name. And then it would be Optimize My Life / Dr. T's Philosphy Cafe. And if you have a choice of wanting to communicate with me through that medium, we can do that as well. I do want to take a quick pause just to say that another event was presented to myself and the Naperville Alliance group, of which I serve as the ambassador. We were asked by Chuck Castro, who is the head of communications and is the PR person for Alignable, that an invitation to participate in a business to small business conference that's going to be held on October 9th and October 10th in Lisle, Illinois. Hopefully I will be able to participate that. We've said that we would, and serve as a panel with other small business influencers to have conversations with corporate America, who will also, as I understand, be in attending. We'll have more detail for you as time goes by, but in giving you an opportunity to talk, in saying that, and with the participants that we hope that have been asked to participate, that we will do the Naperville Alliance group some justice. And for those of you who are listening to this show, Mary, have you had a chance to join me yet? Because she has an announcement for next week, and I'll try to remember that, which is why it's top of mind for me, that during the week of 9/11, the event that none of us should forget, that happened back in 2000, we are dedicating that week on optimize my life with memorials and statements and commemorations for that week. Today is an interesting day as a topic, and I want to share this with you because I received a book from an organization called Success Magazine, or just Success. And there's a conference coming up. I forgot those dates for you. But if you email me or communicate with me through the show today, through area code 714, excuse me, 714-816-4686, we can give you an opportunity to tell you that this title of this book is called Setting Goals for Success. The subtext is called Discover the Fundamentals of Creating Goals that you can accomplish no matter what. Let me just Hi, we seem to have had a little technical difficulty there. I was talking and nothing was going on. Area code is 714-816-4686. Callers, if you'd like to call in, we're talking about goal setting and the success of doing that. So if there's anyone on who would like to chime in just to say hello, you're welcome to do so now. Today's show is on goal setting, and an interesting a little phenomenon here that I've read in this magazine. It says it covers several things about the importance of goal setting, 3 benefits of setting goals. It goes through how to set goals. There are SMART goals for all planning, hard goals for individual, HARD, and then there are FAST goals, FAST, and those are acronyms for the types of goals, maybe for teens, FAST goals for teens. Figuring out your why behind your goals, the passion that you need for boosting your positive energy, the purpose for finding your why, and people surrounding yourself with great people is part of the figuring out the why behind your goals. So the lines are open, and the area code is 714-816-4686. If anybody would like to chime in now of what we've said so far, please feel free to do so.
Dr. T, Joe, Brooklyn, New York. How you do?
Hey, Mr. Joe in New York. How you be? I'm great. Thanks for joining in today.
This is a very good topic that you're speaking on, and I appreciate it very well. I appreciate it very much because it just gives me a chance to recycle myself and to recharge myself and basically get back to basics. And what you're talking about is very, very true. I learned to do these things way back when, and I guess you get in the habit of doing it. And later on in life, like I've gotten now, I've gotten lazy, and I've been recharged. So I've got to go back to the old-fashioned principles, and it seems like the universe is speaking to me and bringing back the things like this topic you're talking about, refreshing me what you have to do to be successful again.
Isn't it interesting that as time goes by, I've heard an adage some years ago that the how does it go? That the young is wasted on the youth. I hope I said that quote right, and I cannot remember who originated that quote. But it's not until we get up in age and we're at certain seasons in our lives that now that we know better what to do, the body doesn't but our minds might be young, and as you just mentioned about being recharged. We can all do that at any moment, at any time, and it's never too late to, as long as there's breath in your body, to make a new start. And as you indicated, Joe, I think that's something where, when it comes to figuring out your why behind your goals, as they say here, dreaming big, making it on, it's not too, don't have mediocre goals, have big goals. But at the same time, you can have the most ambitious goals, you can have your vision boards and all these things and knowing what to do. And as Brian Moran talks about in his book, The 12-Week Year, you never execute. And execution, that they say in the 12-week year, is really the impetus behind, doing what it is you say you want to do. So, we used to say that talking a good game is good when you're on the bench. But unless you're screaming in the coach's ear saying, put me in, coach, put me in, he can't hear you from the bench, or she can't hear you from the bench. But when you're in the coach's face saying, put me in, that's a different story, okay? So, yeah, you're right, Joe. And sometimes I think being seasoned gives you a shorter, a narrower view, because you already know what doesn't work. And you've traveled those roads and you've seen the pitfalls. And when you recognize, I'm not going to make a left over here, I tried that before, let me make this right turn. When you're young, you'll do anything because you don't even know what's hard. But seasoned individuals who do know, and then again, having the passion and the execution of what it is of your heart's desire, then that's part of the game. So let me take you to an interesting benefit that they say of just even setting goals as a benefit. They asked the question, and if you'd like to answer, Joe, or anybody else, again, all the lines are open, 714-816-4686, and I'm told that we can accommodate up to 100 persons. So, did you know setting goals does more than help you lose weight or save money or get into a meditation routine? Having goals has a wider range of mental health benefits to improve your well-being, and they say the number one is increased productivity. Having goals, setting them, helps you increase your productivity, one. Two, it also helps improved decision-making skills when you set goals. And number three, there's clarity and direction. What do you think, Joe?
Those are all
increased
correct.
Productivity.
No, all those things are correct. All those things are correct, what you said. But you said something about losing weight. I got a little bit problem with that. Because if you set a goal and you're in a situation, an environment where things have to be done, and they have to be done, you don't pay attention to sleeping and eating and doing all that. All you do is just continue to do what you have to do to be successful, and it can take a toll on your body.
It does.
And that's the reason why I'm very fortunate, because I used the example I played when I worked young. I burned the candles at both ends and in the middle. And I got to a point there where when I went to my medical doctor, I wasn't feeling well. And she says, Joe, you got walking pneumonia. I said, you talk about walking pneumonia? She says, yeah, you're going to die. You got to go to the hospital. You can't try. I said, Doc, I feel good. I just feel a little woozy. So she called the hospital right there when I was there, and she made an appointment for me when I got there to see a certain doctor. And when I left, instead of me taking a cab there, I drove there because I was feeling good. And when I got there, they just kept me, because I guess the doctor was so emphatic of me getting there, and taking care of me. whatever they did, they didn't take care of me right away. I got there about 1 or 2 o'clock. And then in the 4 o'clock, when she called back to see how I was doing, and they hadn't taken care of me, she raised all hell. So when they took care of me, they had thought that I was going to have a heart attack, but it was because of my anxiety or cocaine overdose or stuff like that. Make a long story short, they settled me down. I didn't get a bed in the hospital that night. Later on that night, a nurse came up and said, "Joe, I know what you did, but these people are all mad at you. So I'm going to give you some more medication. You go home, go see your doctor in the morning." And that's what I did. When I went in the morning, I told her what happened. She says, "Joe, here's what you got to do. Stop smoking and listen to me and get your rest." I was 340 pounds. My blood pressure was up. I had suffered from edema on my legs. And my thing was, I worked 24/7 because I was in the magazine. I didn't have any regulation in my life. I didn't meditate. I didn't eat properly. I didn't sleep properly. And I did change my life, and now I'm like 86, and I'm reflecting on all the things that I did back then and realize the mistakes I made, and I'm able to come through it on the other side. And now all these things that you're talking about, goal setting and things like that, all the goals I said at that time, I met them. But it wasn't I wanted a rich car or something like that. I wanted to help somebody to go to school. I wanted to help this person or that person. I wanted, whatever I wanted to do, I was able to succeed in. I was able to raise a grandchild and help her go to school with my wife. And we worked very, very hard. But on weekends, we party, all to the detriment of my health. Now that we're both old, we reflect upon all the time that we can relax and no stress.
Well, here's the thing about goal setting when you mentioned losing weight. Again, those three things, increase productivity and improve decision-making skills and clarity and direction, they indicated that, goal setting helps you become more productive in all areas of your life. And it just provides a clear path towards your objectives and reduces time wasted trying to figure stuff out for your next move. And then, just on improved decision-making skills, they said as you work toward a particular objective to make decisions that can potentially take you closer to or further away from it. And then the more goals you set, especially long-term ones, the easier it is to make effective decisions, is their opinion. But last but not least, they say clarity and direction is when you have goals, when you know what you want and how to get there. There's improved sense of clarity. It can help you to determine what you want out of life and building your career. Relationships and personal accomplishments are important. But as you indicated, Joe, and if there are other callers, 714-816-4686, you're welcome to chime in. This is just the beginning. Those were some of the benefits, the three benefits of goal setting. And when they talk about how to set goals, let me just inject this, if I may. Your best chance, they indicate, for success requires setting specific and realistic goals. That is, goals you can quantify numerically or in some other measurable way. At the same time, your goals have to be realistic. If the goals you set are not realistic or attainable, you're more likely to give up.
I agree.
714-816-4686. Go ahead, Joe.
No, I agree 100%.
Yep.
100%. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, a point that they raise is, why does setting a vague or unrealistic goal tend to lead to failure? They say that vague and unrealistic goals take action or as again Brian Moran says, execute action is taken out of the equation. If your goal is too vague, you won't know exactly how to achieve it. If it's unrealistic, you know in the back of your mind that you won't actually be able to reach it. So you'll also want a specific timeline with mileposts or objectives mapped out along the way to your goal. This sort of specificity serves multiple purposes. And what just popped in my mind, since you're in New York, I mean, these marathons, the larger cities have them. Chicago has their marathons. New York has its. And people come from all over the world to run in those things. But guess what? Along the route of the runner's path, they have checkpoints, right? They have somebody going, hey, 25 miles to go or 16 miles to go or, and along the way, that's what you need, something specific as mileposts or those objectives already mapped out along the way to your goal.
Well,
so,
one of the maxims that I've learned very early is to get the maximum amount of work in the minimum amount of time. And I realized the person who taught me that had really taught me a whole mouthful, because you are always looking you're always setting your goal setting, you're learning how to achieve and be successful, but at the same time, you're being very aware of the time frame. And the business that we were in, we were always looking at a sure way of getting things done. And that's, I guess, the reason why we were very successful in what we were doing.
As a side note, before I continue, if you're on Alignable and you are setting up your profile, there are AI coaches in the Help Center that helps you to navigate. So let's say one of your goals is to complete, we had this conversation before and others have had it on Alignable. I sent out a YouTube video that Sue Brooke did, but now that I'm on Alignable, now what? It doesn't come with the AI bot, when you're signing up necessarily to tell you what to do. And there are other individuals like myself on Alignable to help you navigate that space. But Alignable University, place to go to help you navigate in the completion of your profile. But if your business or your objectives are not clear and your profile is vague and the tags that you apply to attract or communicate with others, Sue Brooke made the comment, it's kind of like Match.com. When you put something out as a digital tag on your Alignable profile, and let's say you are in the zoo business, botany or whatever, and you want to get lion tamers or people who are with different mammals or reptiles, your tag should say that. Your tag, as I've used the expression, where's Waldo? You're looking for people. And even in third grade, I've taught third graders when we use animated characters to help with land masses and seas and rivers and different things, to associate that, just like you should do on Alignable, digital tags to attract those, whether they're your ideal customer or your ideal partner that you want to be partnered with or refer to. Be as specific in terms of a human being as you possibly can. And when you can't, I call it the vending machine approach. Just put the types of services that you provide. Go ahead, Joe.
No, you're very, very correct about that, because I got it on Alignable, and that's my next move now, and I'll be getting in contact with you a lot more often. On getting my, I had a long time getting my picture set up. I finally got the picture that I wanted, but now I really want to set up the rest of the profile. So with just my initial thing in Alignable has been unbelievable. People are hitting me up, and the few calls or the few events that I've been to, it is unbelievable. But I realized that I wasn't set up properly.
Yeah. And you may still not be because of mileposts or the objective in your completion of your profile. Just as you just mentioned, you should just put a calendar and say, I'm going to have this done by such and such. See, the more specific a timeline is, or your milepost that's mapped out ahead of time, helps you with specificity in serving those purposes. Let me give you one other part that they indicate here. Definitive goals with a clear timeline let you know that if you're falling behind or if you're ahead. So in your case, Joe, like you said, if you put it to calendar, now not only is it specific as a timeline, now you get putting that, I don't want to say pressure, but it is. They pressure you. They force you, putting a timeline to let you know that it's crunch time, they say, and setting smaller benchmarks to hit along the way also helps make reaching the larger goal more manageable. So instead of a mountain to climb, you have several small hills to conquer. And as you just mentioned, it's interesting that you said that. Even without the completion of your profile, as you just said, and you're joining different groups, that's like you wanting to plant trees for the next harvest, but you're too busy eating today's fruit. You're gorging on, this is fun. It's like the image just popped in here. I want to say it's like the Wizard of Oz, or, right now you're eating the candy, all that stuff as you're going down the yellow brick road in your goal setting. But you've got to set specific timelines so that your mountain of your alignable profile is smaller, even though you're enjoying the fruit as you go along the way. Set definitive goals with a clear timeline. That way you're not on that. And then there's one other thing. The sense of accomplishment that you feel upon reaching a specific goal will exhilarate you. It'll build confidence and courage. The next thing you know, you'll be lining up your next major goal. You'll still be eating the fruit, Joe. You'll still be having all these interactions with people because then it'll be fun. When you know that you've accomplished your goal of completing something in a particular time or in a timeline. They use the word exhilarate, but I'm just telling you, basically, it makes you feel good. Your endorphins are popping. You're like, okay, if I did that, I can do something else. And your battery stays charged, Joe. 714-816-4686 is the line that's open. If there are other callers who would like to join in with Joe's discussion about setting goals and his wisdom, Joe is probably the best person. If you were really sharp, I'd be calling in and going, so Joe, what about X and what about Y? And can you tell me about Z? He's right here. Go ahead, Joe.
You know what's so good about what you're saying? The industry that I was in before, it was so active. I mean, we were running all the time. So now that I'm, like I say, I'm a senior citizen, I'm relearning the things that I did, but how to put them in a structured form.
Mm-hmm.
And but one thing I do recognize when I got on the lineable, that it was a fishing pond that was over flooded with fish. and if I wanted to get myself together and take advantage of it, I had to have a system of duplication.
It's an interesting proposition that you just said, because even as you discovered this pond full of fish, you still have to have a goal of how many fish do you want for the day.
Thank you.
Or the week. Or the month.
Thank you.
Set the goal, Joe, and execute and say, I'm in a great. And by the way, they tell me, one of our leaders in the organization that I represent made this comment to me one day. We were at a function, and he said, they shouldn't call it. And he loves fishing. He fishes all over the world. And he said, they shouldn't call it fishing. They should call it catching, because you could have all the equipment, all the bait set. You know what kind of fish you're looking for, and you're ready to go. You're there on your boat. and you're there in a place where there are no fish. So it's not just a matter of, oh, is the lake or the pond or the place where you are fishing, are they jumping in the boat or are you catching them? That's why you need patience. He said they shouldn't call it fishing, they should call it catching. Because sometimes you sit there all day and don't catch anything. Go ahead, Joe.
No, let me just tell you this. The way I see alignable, my experience alignable, man, you ain't fishing. You ain't trying to catch nothing. The fish are jumping in the boat. That's as simple as that. And if you got your stuff set up, whatever you want to do in life, it's all, particularly on the other platform that I'm on, I'm just laying myself out and strategizing. What's going on there? I haven't even started with Alignable. And I got people from all over that I used to deal with that I'm contacting. And then I have to take my time now and get it Alignable and really get the proof in the pudding is with what you do.
Yeah.
In Alignable, these people are there looking to be of service to each other, and we can be a fantastic service.
You heard it here first, people. Joe McKenzie gave you his rendition. The fish are jumping in your boat. You just got to be in the place where they're jumping. And I'm saying for today's broadcast topic, set some goals. If you got a very tiny boat, you know you can only hold so many fish.
Think about it. You're going to sink.
You better figure out what you're measuring and how many fish. Here, listen to this. They say in this magazine book, thankfully, goal setting is a process and not a decision. Through planning, you will outline the time-bound, measurable steps and accomplishments needed to reach your goal. It can be complicated and malleable. It can be a complicated and malleable process where you sometimes adjust even the goal itself. So again, the fish may be jumping in the boat and Alignable, but you either better be the kind of size boat you want when you're going catching, or a net, not just using a pole.
That's right.
You got to measure that. You gotta have an idea of a goal and how you're actually going to set it. Now, they call one section for decades of research. They have unlocked the science of goal-setting strategies. So here it is. The best of all these time-tested strategies are a simple-to-use and proven-to-work acronym called SMART goals. And this works for all kinds of planning. And the SMART method is the most all-purpose and widely used method to set goals. SMART, the acronym, stands for S is specific, M is for measurable, A is for attainable, R is for relevant, and T is for time-bound. Now, we're already well past the half hour. We are 6 minutes past. But when you're setting SMART goals for planning, you want to be specific, first of all. Rather than seek broad and amorphous goals, wild goals, narrow them to specific outcomes. So again, if you take Mr. McKenzie's advice, you take Joe's advice about joining Alignable, and the fish are jumping in your boat, you better be specific about what size boat are you taking with you that day. M is for measurable. To determine when or if you met the way to measure them, such as either a dollar amount or units sold, or again, to use Joe's analogy in mind about fishing, how many fish, or even the type of fish. If you're using a net, some fish you don't want to eat. Some fish you do, but you need to be able to measure what types of fish are edible and what types are not. A is for attainable. This is where you are ensuring your goals are attainable and they're realistic. So you can't walk out there and say, I'm going to go rent a 100-foot yacht, hollow it out, and I'm going to load up as many fish as I can, or you're going to take a rowboat. Make sure that the goals are attainable and realistic. Establishing goals that fit your personal or company brand, your needs, and or culture. Are they relevant to your personal, company, your needs, or your culture? That's important in planning. And then T is for time bound. Again, and again. Create timelines for you when you expect to realistically meet your goals. Go ahead, what caller?
Well, I got another one for you. KISS. You know what that means, right?
I do, and that's down the way here, but yes, sir.
Huh? That's I'm beginning to really comes to the forefront of my mind is the KISS.
All right. Well, here's something for individuals. Another acronym besides SMART are HARD goals. HARD goals or hard goal setting strategy or the hard goal setting strategy is best for solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and those learning new skills or setting career goals. HARD stands for, H is for heartfelt, A, animated, R, D is for difficult. Hard goals are for individuals. Again, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, people who want to learn something new. So a heartfelt goal begins with why you want to reach this goal and what will it mean to you on a personal level. So the first thing for setting a hard goal for individuals, begin with why you want to reach this goal and what it will mean to you on a personal level. A is animated. This is where you envision what you truly intend to achieve and what change that achievement will bring. Envision what you truly intend to achieve and what change that achievement will bring. R is for required. Consider what you will need to learn and do in order to better achieve the goal that you're setting. What's required? Does it require more, classes, courses, be they webinar, college, or, high school, whatever it is you're going for as an individual? What will you need to learn and do in order to best achieve the goal you're setting? And then last is D, like difficult or difficult, and take you out of your comfort zone. And I'm going to do the examples maybe in reverse order, but I remember back when I was an athlete and, even in PE class, there were back in the 60s, President Kennedy came out with that everybody had to have physical ed and, we had to be able to do so many push-ups or sit-ups or whatever the routine was. Maybe you set a goal to do 10 push-ups, but maybe 12 would be pushing your limit. So that's an ambitious goal. If you say I can do 10, but I'm going to set it for 12. Or if you're running, maybe you can start out with you can't run a full mile yet. You can set it for a half mile, a quarter of a mile. But there was a person called it stretchingly realistic, something that you can do, maybe on your toes. You just stretch just a little bit more. That's the difficult goal, ambitious goal. Go ahead, Joe.
No, what you're saying is very, very true. Very true.
An example about what you will need to learn and to do in order to best achieve your goal. Joe, you've already articulated that today. Your goal was to get on the line. You accomplished that. Your goal was to finish your profile. You are accomplishing that. You've got to set some timelines. But you're learning how to go through Alignable University. You're learning what to do. And those who I encourage to be a part of Alignable University, is this part of the hard goal for individuals? That's the place to learn how to master Alignable. The animation of your goal. What do you truly intend to achieve by being on Alignable, by going through Alignable University. Will that help you, since the fish, as Joe says, are already jumping in the boat? You might as well take advantage of it, because it's going to happen if you are excited and truly intend to achieve that, what you want to achieve. And then again, to go back to heartfelt, why do you want to meet people on Alignable? What's going to happen when you reach that goal? And what does it mean when you're interacting in various smart connects? Are you trying to sell your products or services, or are you really trying to get to know, like, and trust initially? As the liking part, you're there for 7 minutes, you get 3.5, say, for each person. You're trying to determine, do you like that person? Or do you want to have further conversations? So we're at the three-quarters of the hour pass, but these two specific goals and hard goals. And I want to do this last, because if you have a team of people, well, again, regardless of your industry, if it's more than you and you have fast goals, sometimes fast goals, which are for teams, everybody on a team, like we talked about, being members of a team or members of a body, the Apostle Paul uses it in Romans chapter 12 and in 1 Corinthians 12, describing what the church looks like as members of one body. There are many members of that one body in Christ, where everybody has different functions. Same thing on a football team or any athletic competition or sport with a team involved. Everybody's not playing the same positions. Everybody, unless you're Deion Sanders or those who have a hunter who can go both ways, who are gifted, everybody's got a job. So do your job on the team. So FAST, F-A-S-T, the acronym is for frequent. A is for ambitious. T is for transparent. So these are for team goals. Some goals require teamwork, and the FAST goal-setting technique is best for group goals, like those set between a manager and coworkers at a place of employment. And I just alluded to whether they're athletic teams. Fast goal setting, means you are discussing frequently. You're discussing all aspects of the goal, from wins to setbacks, with the team often. You're talking about the strengths and the weaknesses, the good, the bad, leads, and follow-up. All of that, you should be having conversations, discuss all aspects of the goal with the team often. Go ahead, Joe. You were going to say something a moment ago.
No, what you're saying is very true. Very, very true. And I just have to reprogram myself, because before all these things came in the industry that I was before, all these things just came automatically.
Okay.
Like there was
if you have a team, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And no, when you and I had to develop a team to execute this, and like you said, different members being responsible for doing certain things. That is very, very true. But like I say, I'm relearning myself, because that was more of a physical action, transactional thing that was done every day. So like I had to be up at a certain time to make sure I made this connection to get magazines at a certain time. Yeah. Then on delivery, I had to make sure that I didn't get to this guy too early to make sure that it was open. But with the Alignable and stuff like that, this is a whole different environment. The platform is completely different.
And with your team,
learning skill.
And with your team, if they're participating with you in Alignable, as the team that I've built, everybody has come through or is a member of Alignable, but they're also in business with me in an adventure. And as I did the other day, there was an event that I attended with Sue Brooks. I made sure everybody on my team of your goal with a team. Everybody's not doing the same thing. Everybody doesn't have the same time, frequency, or zone for that matter. But if you're communicating what the FAST goals are frequently, that leads to the next letter, the acronym, ambitious. If you set challenging goals, which create a bonding sense of unity and purpose, again, like you said, even with your previous business, but using Alignable, maybe somebody on your team can help you with the creative part about putting your banners and your photos. Maybe, and they can do that for other members on the team. All of us, again, are not gifted with the same exact skills. Somebody is good at writing text. They have AI bots that help you use that, utilize that skill set if writing isn't your forte. But again, this is for teams. And the more that you have conversations with others who are gifted in something, that creates a sense of unity and purpose. And the S for specific. Ensure that those goals are specific and, again, measurable. Those specific goals we talked about initially. But with a team, you want to know who's doing what, where. Measure that. You got so many days to get this done, 10 days, a month, whatever. But measure when someone is going to do something, and then give them timelines and deadlines to keep everybody working cohesively and on track. The T for transparent is just that. Building greater understanding and cohesion by being transparent about the objectives, about the goals, about each team member's unique role. Everybody has a different gift. Everyone has a different skill set. But if you're not, if you're communicating what's good for you and what you have to use goals as a whole, people will take that as, well, this guy's pretty selfish and he's just about himself. He's not about team. He uses words, but his actions say something else. You've got to be transparent when you're building greater understanding and cohesion, because with that, being transparent about the objectives for the team, then you build something that's very unique within not only each person, but the uniqueness for the team. All of this has to do with success. And I don't know if I'm going to make this available to everybody if you need it or would like a copy of this. It's in a PDF form. But maybe, there was a commercial years ago. I'm dating myself, but I'm old, not quite as some, but older than others. If you're on the call and would like to participate, you can do so at 714 area code 816-4686. And what I was about to allude to was a commercial years ago called Brill Cream. Brill Cream was a pomade that I guess if you were of a certain culture and had the hair strands of a certain texture, it holds your curls or your hair in place. They would always say that the tagline for the Brill Cream commercial was, "A little dab will do you." And I never forgot that. I might have been, 4 or 5, I don't know. But it always stuck with me that marketing people, ad people, kind of like Darren Stevens, he married, Darren married, what was his name? Not Samantha. It was Samantha, whoever the witch is, his wife's name. They would come up with different ad campaigns, but that Brill Cream one stuck with me about a little dab will do you. So, callers, I'm enjoying you today. We're 9 minutes away from the top of the hour. The number is 714-816-4686. Maybe today was your little dab of about, setting goals and going over these types of goals. Maybe just a little dab will do you just to get you rolling down the hill. Go ahead, caller. I must have missed somebody. Okay, I thought there was someone saying something. Well, if this is available to you, and it is through Success Magazine, they have different webinars. This last component, I'll just briefly talk about figuring out your why. What is your why behind your goals? Joe, what's your why behind your current goals of using a Bible, since you mentioned it? Well, if you don't mind sharing.
No, my current why now is to share with people. I realized a long time ago that I was very blessed and people have helped me. So all my why, and for now until I close my eyes, is to share and pay forward to as many people as I can. Okay. And that is the rekindling of the fire in my belly now. I've got sunlight shining ahead. And when these days things are so going contrary, different ways and things like that, let's put it this way. My wine now is bring as much joy to the universe as I can, and that's in health and in wealth.
Wow. That's a good one. Here's something they said. It's easy enough to plug potential goals into a formula and devise steps to achieve them. However, this makes the goal-setting process feel sterile and inhuman, which is the opposite of how it should feel. You should be excited, motivated, and passionate about your goals. That's where the true success formula from wealth psychologist Elizabeth Lombardo, PhD, comes in. She said, it is comprised of 3 pillars that are paramount to creating and enjoying success in your life. Passion, the exhibiting positive energy even during tough times. Purpose, having meaning in your life. And people, optimizing your relationships. If you've got those 3 things for your why, that fuels, that drives, that helps one complete those things, how can the true success formula help you with your goals? If those 3 things are in your why, how do you think that might help you? Go ahead, Joe.
No, you're successful. You got to be successful. I mean, that breaks it down to every aspect. It breaks it down.
But what about being passionate, Joe?
You have to
Dr.
be passionate.
Lombardo says you got to be passionate.
Oh, that's right. You have to be passionate. There's 2 ways. There's no 2 ways about it. When the going gets tough, that's when the tough get going.
Yeah.
And that's when the passion comes in. You got to have passion.
You agree with Dr. Lombardo?
If you don't have if you don't have passion, you would stop and quit.
Here's what they said along that line, Joe, just real quick. It says that when you're motivated by passion, you appreciate what is happening, and you're empowered to make things even better.
Yes.
This is in sharp contrast to victimhood. When we are in a place of victimhood, we feel helpless to make changes. Victimhood can take many forms, blaming external circumstances. If only I didn't have to work so much, parenthetically it said. Or blame other people. If only my partner was more supportive, parenthetically. Or the past. I've tried in the past and it didn't work, so I'm just stuck, parenthetically. It says while we cannot always change the situation, we can always change our reaction to it. Fear, in the form of perfectionism, now parenthetically it says that it needs to be perfect or else why bother. Procrastination, parenthetically, it'll be horrible to do this, so I'm going to put it off. I don't want to do it, and that's going to be horrible. Both perfectionism and procrastination can rob us of our passions. We're just about at the top of the hour, so I'll leave it this way. One way to apply passion to help achieve your goals is to stop beating yourself up. Stop dwelling on what you should have done and start thinking about how you can use past failures to make more informed decisions. I think today's discussion, and that's just the first 10 pages of this book, of setting goals for success, discovering the fundamentals of creating goals that you can accomplish, no matter how lofty. I want to conclude today that next week is going to be a dynamite show all week on the Hope Network. There is an event coming up October 9th and 10th in Lyle, Illinois, that we will be participating in on behalf of a Lionel corporate and a panel of business are small business conferences to be held here, and that we will be participating. I've signed on, as well as 5 or 6 others we met this morning. We hope to give you more details later, even on the show. And as much as you can support us and participate, the Naperville Alliance group, local business group here, they did ones in Sonoma, California last year. Huge success. The ambassador, Sherry Petroli, I was told today, have animate that and coordinate that, as I'm being asked to do this year for this event. Honored to be a part, but the panel and the people that we pulled together today to participate as small business owners, talking to big corporate and learning what it is and how they can help the small business owner or smaller business owners, not the giant people. I won't tell you who's participating just yet. It's going to be an exciting time. So if Mary Stanley had made her way, we want to wish her well. I'm sure she's caught up in her daily activity as a mom and a business owner. But I want to give, again, Mary Stanley a shout-out for having produced the show and give us the links to do so. Joe, we appreciate you. We've had other guests on. We appreciate you. So if you're listening to this broadcast later, we've been for the hour, and I want to wish you all well. And until next time, until next Thursday, have fun.